In today's news, why is it XRP always experiences price glitches? The fact that it is one of the few, if not only, cryptos that sees this happen and happens so frequently is bizarre. We can see from Jack the Ripper it has just been recorded XRP has a new price glitch, $21,354.50 per XRP, which is mental. Huge, but why? What do you think is the reason? Is it because XRP is heavily integrated into the banking sector? Is it because XRP is unique compared to the rest of the market and also is a first mover? I want to believe it is all of the above. We can see in this post here from Bank XRP, huge news here, LCX Exchange has submitted the world's first MiCA compliant white paper for XRP and is now listed in the official ESMA register. So now XRP has admission to trading at LCX Exchange. Why is it a big deal? Because this is proof XRP once more is a first mover. The world's first MiCA compliant white paper has come for XRP, and MiCA compliance is the regulatory framework for crypto in the entire European Union. Furthermore, XRP is now listed in the official European Securities and Markets Authority ESMA register. XRP is officially available for trading on a regulated exchange in Europe, so this therefore means, in the long and short of it, XRP will see increased trust, regulatory clarity, transparency, and therefore a lot more adoption as well. This could play a huge part into XRP's price target going forward, but there's more to this as well. Listen to this interview here between Paul Barron and LCX Exchange, where they leak that XRP ledger will integrate with this exchange. Take a listen.
What would be the future here for you guys if you were to choose now?
What I can tell you is it won't be on Ethereum because they need a different settlement layer, which is much faster and probably also offering a hybrid model between private and public disclosures. So if the Bank of America would step in, they don't want to disclose all their transactions like it is on Ethereum.
Well,
so it would be a hybrid model.
There is a blockchain out there. XRP Ledger would be a good one. You know, you could go right there to it. And oh, I like that. Okay, that's all I needed.
So the way I'm seeing this is the XRP ledger will integrate with LCX Exchange, which is a regulated exchange within the European Union, which therefore sets a precedent for more exchanges and even more market makers and many more to integrate and transact on the XRP ledger. XRP is the gas fee for the XRP ledger. This therefore will lead to more adoption and demand for XRP if they all transact on the XRP ledger, therefore leading to a high possibility of XRP reaching these outlandish price targets of $21,000. But again, there's more to it, because remember also, XRP has many in-depth partnerships, and I believe the financial institutions around the world may also do the same and transact onto the XRP ledger, also due to XRP's ISO 20022 compliance and partnerships around the world banking sectors. Mr. Man XRP highlights here, notice the dates for Swift ISO 20022 testing prior to going live date of November 22nd, 2025, again around the end of this year. All these dates are key, crucial dates for Swift, but also for our crypto society, our ecosystem. These are key dates as the United States is set to implement their DID Digital ID Real ID Act by May 7th, 2025, around the same time they're doing the vendor test. And then equally, the FedWire is going to be going live with ISO 20022 on July 14th, equally around the time of seeing test and training system. It's a weird coincidence, you ask me. And why is it important for XRP? Well, because XRP is connected to the government, the US government, but also because XRP has connection to FedWire and FedNow, which FedNow is the evolution of FedWire here, which is proven from Uphold. We can see last year they posted, if you reside in the United States and your bank works with the FedNow or RTP, you can instantly withdraw your XRP to USD on Uphold, which once more is huge. Potentially playing into this belief, if all market makers, if all exchanges and all financial institutions around the world transact on the XRP ledger, therefore bringing more demand to XRP, as XRP is a gas fee on the ledger, XRP could reach outlandish price targets like $21,000. And I could care to argue that this will start to happen very soon thanks to the legal developments. The imminent lawsuit conclusion, XRP has been proven to be a first mover, and therefore XRP may kickstart the relief rally in crypto and send it to higher highs. And for more information on what I'm personally doing in this particular bull, you can follow me here at wop.com/coin-factory, keeping you all informed on what my moves and targets are, building realistic market expectations through institutional research documents while also actively trading this market. We're doing a lot right now and there's so much more to come. So again, wop.com/coin-factory if you're interested. Links are down below in the description. So we now have potentially the final updated SEC versus Ripple timeline here. With the announcement from Stuart Alderoty, you better believe the paperwork has already been drawn up. the final crossing of T's and dotting of I's, what should be Stuart Oldrotty's last update on the SEC versus Ripple case. This is a huge announcement to make. Last week, the SEC agreed to drop its appeal without conditions, and Ripple has now agreed to drop its cross appeal. The SEC will keep $50 million of the $125 million fine already in an interest-bearing escrow in cash, with the balance returned to Ripple. The agency will also ask the court to lift the standard injunction that was imposed earlier by the SEC's request, all subject to commission vote, drafting for final documents, and usual court proceedings. So ultimately, this explains why the case dismissal took so long. According to Oldrotty here, the deal now is A, this gives the SEC only $50 million as opposed to the $125 million, so Ripples get $75 million back, which is huge. And also B, the SEC has agreed to ask Judge Torres to lift the injunction she ordered. So ultimately, now we are waiting for the vote by the SEC Commission, which will take less than 30 days, so less than a month. Then we wait for the filing for the SEC to lift the injunction, which will be unopposed by Ripple's judge, of course, or we like to believe, which will sign off again less than 30 days from the motion filing. So we got less than 60 days now until this lawsuit is 100% concluded. And we'll see hopefully a flood of XRP adoption coming very, very soon. Now, as Zach Rector highlights here, the XRP case conclusion prediction apparently is going to start tomorrow. As on Thursday, March 27th, tomorrow, the SEC commissioners will conduct the official vote to end their appeal against Ripple. Official announcements will follow shortly. The very same day, we will have the first hearing to confirm incoming chair of the SEC, Paul Atkins. And considering we saw a massive fast track of dismissal from the SEC with all the other crypto cases, potentially they'll also do the same with Ripple as well and dismiss it very, very quickly. And to be clear, once the SEC does lift the injunction, Ripple will be allowed to sell to institutional investors. Now, it's not exactly right if I'm being blunt here, because truth be told, the exact truth of the matter, the power to lift the injunction actually resides with the judge and judge alone. The SEC's action and request can heavily influence the decision, but they're not the gatekeepers, it's actually Judge Torres who decides. But either way, he is right. Once the injunction is lifted, I can personally believe we see a flood of XRP ETFs being issued very, very soon, even from the likes of BlackRock, for example. We can see here with Good Morning Crypto, an interview with Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse basically states that we think it makes sense for the XRP community to see BlackRock ETFs, listen very closely.
So you would welcome an XRP ETF then?
We would certainly welcome it, and I think it's inevitable that there'll be, multiple ETFs around different tokens. And I think you'll even see ETFs potentially around baskets that also, I think, further diversify that risk.
Are you in talks with the largest issuers, particularly BlackRock, to get this done?
Well, I'm not going to comment on that. I know BlackRock has said some things publicly. We think it makes sense for the XRP community overall. Ripple obviously is a very important stakeholder in the XRP ecosystem, but we're not the only player. And look, we've seen, before the SEC lawsuit, XRP was the second most valuable digital asset. I think because of the headwinds of that lawsuit, we've now seen that largely abate. But the long-term view on these things is about, how do you create utility and really solve real-world problems with these different digital assets.
But what is also very, very important and interesting is Crypto.com CEO also explained how XRP ETFs will attract $8 billion of inflows in 2026. And why is that important? Because Crypto.com recently partnered with Donald Trump, and Crypto.com is very bullish on XRP. So this once more plays into the belief that I stated, that XRP has got deep connections to the government and also big connections to financial institutions worldwide, meaning there's a higher chance the financial institutions will use the XRP ledger, and adding to the increasing possibility XRP could reach these outlandish price targets like $21,000 because of the incoming mass adoption. So these glitches are just warnings of what is to come. That's my own belief, again, not financial advice, but as always, do your own research. Better still, come chill, chat, and learn much more in the Coin Factory community. Get a link down below, but remember, don't look short term, think long term, and I'll see you in the next one.